and also not. I mean, it's
live streaming is on.
I don't know how to avoid this kind of behavior or this kind of mistake. I guess it's a one-off, and yeah, like we can't have this happen again, right? So like we probably need to like create an issue to check that an address exists before we allow a donation to go through. I guess in our testing, we probably should keep this in mind and try and document some kind of process to stop this from happening. But yeah, what to say?
That's good thinking, James. I think we can detect if an address is a contract. So when a user inputs an address, we can check both mainnet and XDAI. But we could see if the address is a contract, we could at least show a user a warning and say, you know, are you sure this is for advanced only do this if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you know, you might end up with donations on other chains that you can't access. And we can check that we should be able to check that pretty easily on chain.
Yeah, cool.
Good thinking.
So I don't think there is an issue for this. So maybe we create an issue and just like create a comprehensive plan, like dissecting what went wrong and what we're going to do about it in the future, I guess. So I'll make a note to create that basically. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can go first, I guess, and give my updates. I'm currently investigating a live bug where the amounts are not shown correctly for Giveth, and it's related to, I believe it's related to the XDAI node, that it's not pulling the price off that and saving it in the database. On my local machine, I resolved it by updating the URL of the XDAI node, but on live, that doesn't seem to work. So I don't know. I'm still in the middle of it right now, basically. And otherwise, I deployed some stuffs to the to dev to have a look at around the filtering and searching, basically. So it's kind of like a work in progress, put on dev for the purposes of getting early feedback while I'm working on it. So visually, it doesn't look great. It's not according to the design. The sorting is not working, but it should be enough to get an idea for it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good, but yeah, if there's anything that you think would make it better, then let me know. Otherwise, this week I also worked on automating the backups. So I have that working on my local computer, and I just need to deploy it to probably the staging server, I guess, to test it there. And yeah, I'm going to be working with Kai on like setting up a deployment pipeline or something to get that up there and going. And otherwise, yeah, I mean, there were a few other live issues that I worked on this week, but I don't remember what they are now exactly. They're live anyway. That's it from me. Really? Mateo?
Yeah, I can go next. On Friday and Saturday, I was really distracted by the workshop for Barcelona, so I didn't do much coding, except yesterday that I pushed something to master that was a quick visual fix actually, because I encountered that when a user created a project without any image, neither an uploaded image or by default the 4 placeholders that we have, they were showing a wrong background. It was not okay. It was showing a picture of some kids running that we had over the mockup a long time ago, so that's not cool. I fixed that, and also something related to, yeah, the thumbnail in the threads for the same case. When there was no picture, it was the team in Barcelona, so that, yeah, that wasn't something good to have. I fixed that yesterday. Before that, I rushed the XDAI login that everybody already tried out. Fixed some minor bugs, but what I'm planning to do this week is check out on everything. Sam made an amazing feedback with like 3 or 4 issues that I want to prioritize. yeah, I need to check on that. But there are many issues, little issues that are solvable and will improve the experience a lot. So that's what I'm planning to do this next. Something else? No, I think that's it. Yeah, the most important bug is the one that James is handling right now. That is the token values that is not showing properly, and that's it. Kai, Merlin.
Yeah, I did some. I did those issues that were assigned to me, little ones like the Lottie for the newsletter, and yeah, it can be checked out on dev. But I'm currently fixing the deployment for Impact Graph for dev. It got stuck. And yeah, so for the thing, so I did just activate the DigitalOcean backups for now. They are full system backups and they are run periodically and they work really nice. Like if you have to make a new server from scratch from that backup. And yeah, I'm having some problem. I'm trying to automate your thing for Circle. I think we have to make it public. The operations, James. I don't know why you set it on private. I wanted to ask about that. If we can just set it to public.
I made it private because I had a thought that, and I didn't think it through very much. I had a thought that like, is there some kind of like security risk? Is this something that we don't want to really have people understand how it works or something like this? It's probably fine, but like I just went private by default purely for this reason, basically. So for example, like I'm going to use the code to ping Netlify to trigger builds, for example, and like, you know, there's other bits and pieces in there. So yeah, I mean, I just went private by default basically, but like happy to make it public probably with.
I'm not sure that's what the problem is. I just I have this continuous fight with Circle. I don't know why. It's very. They keep changing how it looks. Maybe Amin can take a look. He's great at Circle. I set it up. I just cannot, for whatever reason, connect to the server. Yeah. We will also solve this one. So that's cool. Basically my update for now.
Maybe Merlin wants to give an update.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So last week I mostly worked on the end-to-end test with. So we connect to our fake MetaMask account, because if we want to make some testing, like creating a project and stuff like that, we are obliged to be connected. And so I tried many things, and then I come up with a solution. And so I'm faking an account and like implementing some local storage stuff. But I'm still working on that. For now, it works, but it makes me. I did the little change at provider, so I'm not really. We need to another solution, so we don't touch to wallet provider, which will be used in production. So I'm still.
Merlin, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm losing you. Can you guys hear him?
No, you're breaking up pretty bad, Merlin.
Yeah, and it's super thing. Like, could you back up like a minute, like maybe, or 30 seconds?
You're still frozen.
We lost him. Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe you want to turn off your video.
I can hear.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
How about now?
Hello.
That's better. Yes. Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we hear you.
Yeah. So you lost me when? Because I could hear you, but you cannot
Yeah,
hear me, it seems. So
yeah. You were talking about the providers that you like. I think you might have been saying that you were not sure about something. I don't know, that you had two providers even.
yeah, I create a PR, and which is work in progress,
Yep.
and so you can see the code. And for now, it's the only solution I found to fetch a MetaMask account, and
Yeah.
so we. I'm not sure about this solution, and maybe I can arrange that. I try. I will try to make some tweaks, but I don't know. But there is a PR, and I integrate some testing, like yeah, I want to create a project, and I want to donate and stuff like that. But that's it. And then I worked also on the refactor of the donation page. Marco assigned me to this, and so there is a PR. It's opened, and so I don't know if Matteo or James, you want to. I think that Matteo has also a PR that is correlated to that, and so maybe we can discuss about it. But that you have on the PR you have an image, and with the new design for the donation page. So, and I finished that this morning. So, and that's it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I will make
Cool.
sure to check out that PR. And yeah, what I have to do that is related to that is the listing of the tokens that needs some redesign that Marco already did. So I will take a look and merge it before accepting the PR, maybe, or use your own branch. Let's see. I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Merlin, I was wondering about the for the donation flow for the testing. Like, can we, if we cannot like get it working with MetaMask, like what are we actually trying to test, right? Like the user gets to the donation page, they put in an amount, they select maybe a token or something, they click donate, and then like we're trying to like open MetaMask and click confirm, and then, or like.
No, we cannot use MetaMask. In fact, I faked a wallet because for using MetaMask, you need to download the extension, and I tried to download that with Cypress, but it doesn't work, and it's really tricky because when you Cypress open a Chrome browser, it's like a fresh new page, and so all your extensions you have on your desktop are not there, and it's really complicated
I don't think we want to anyway, right? Like it's kind of like, I mean, what I'm getting at is like, I mean, we probably don't need to test MetaMask, right? Like it probably works, and somehow, I mean, like the point is that like we want to be sure that if a user donates and we assume the MetaMask goes through, that the donation confirmation page is reached, and probably what happens after that, right? Like the donations page, that the donation shows up there, and this kind of stuff. So I'm just wondering, like, where you're, like, what you are trying to include and what you are not including, basically, or what you're thinking about that.
Like a fake account that is not that is not log out when you refresh page or your from page. Each time we have a web, and if it matters whether Taurus or, and to
Yeah,
a bit
Merlin,
robotic, man. So that's-
yeah, it's really hard to hear you.
So
Yeah.
I did that, but it's yeah, and that's it for now. I think we can add a test for like creating a project. It's
Cool.
feasible, but I'm not sure about donating tokens because we will need to also fake the balance. I don't know if it's possible. Maybe yes. I can try to do some stuff about that, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure for now.
You broke up quite a lot there, so I'm sorry if you covered this already. But I think like the idea that I just want to communicate is something like that. If the provider is a real pain in the ass, like, is there a way that we can just, for example, fake something by calling the save donation endpoint on the GraphQL server to like save a fake donation in the database and then somehow navigate to the My Donations page and then confirm that whatever fake donation we made actually shows up there and everything is correct or something. So I don't know if you covered that, but I'm just wondering if that's something that's feasible or makes sense.
I think, yeah, it could be a solution to bypass some step that is not possible with the actual solution. I didn't try that because I spent many times like trying to download the extension, making that working, but it, at the end it didn't work. So, but I try, and now yeah, I try to implement some testing and see what are the boundaries and they are allowed for now. And good point by maybe calling directly calling the backend endpoint to bypass some steps.
Yeah, cool.
But for now,
I mean, keep it in
I'm not
mind. See what makes sense. I mean, like, especially if you don't get into a situation where it gets super frustrating for you, right? Like, I mean, whatever. If you think if it's a good test and it seems to work, then we can try this, or else whatever. Yeah. Cool. Otherwise, it's exciting. Super great. Super happy with this. Like, even for myself, like, I made some quick changes last week, and it was super nice to be able to run the tests and have some kind of like higher level of confidence that I didn't break something. So yeah, that's great. Does anybody else have an update?
Not an update, but I wanted to mention that in the workshop yesterday there was a feature that some people requested, or we talked about it a couple of weeks or months, I guess. It was a long time ago, and it's the ability to do multi-wallet or multiple logins for one organization, because they were mentioning that they would like it, or it would be awesome that many people inside the same organization could have access for the account and handle the donations and the projects and being an administrator. I believe that Danny talked about it back then. That time she was mentioning the possibility of a multi-wallet or multi-login possibility. So I don't know if we should consider it for coming sprints, or how much of a priority should that have in the upcoming sprints. Yeah, I want your opinion on that, guys.
I feel like I don't know what the benefit would be right now with our current functionality or something, right? Like, if we think about maybe Giveth as an organization, just as an example or something, that like we could have one project that's for Giveth Trace and one for the Giveth app or something, or like one Giveth project for, you know, going to Burning Man in 2 years, or Costa Rica or whatever. It's kind of like, I feel like there isn't really like it would need to come with a lot more functionality or something, right? Like an organization page under which there's many different projects or something. And then you can get all of the donations inside of your organization or something. Like, or, so what I'm saying is that, like, I don't feel like there's any functionality there right now that would benefit from this, but that would certainly makes sense and that the database is structured this way and it's ready for that. But we would need to add a lot more to make it sensible, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that there and see what's the feasibility in the future, because yeah, I showed that to a couple of organizations or nonprofits, and that was the only request that actually came through. And yeah, it would be cool to have this. That's all. And I mentioned the white labeling that is coming soon, and that was a little bit of the approximation of what you're saying. So
yeah, I mean, if for example we had this, then someone other than Danny would be able to change the description of the Giveth project, for example, because right now it's only the project owner, right? And
exactly.
Conceivably, like if instead of being a project, it was an organization, for example, that everyone had access to, then any of us could go in and do it or something. But yeah.
Mitch, I thought you wanted to, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, couple things I noticed on live there. I have a friend, for example, he onboarded a project and I was trying to find his project and I had to click like see more projects like 4 different times to find his thing. And I remember this is something we talked about. I think Merlin brought it up a couple weeks ago about having the endless scroll. I know Marco like has some search features coming in the pipeline, but I think there's no good reason why we shouldn't have endless scroll. Like it's just adding more work, I think, just like constantly having to click and like scroll down. Whereas if you can just see everything, you know, it seems like a pretty big no-brainer.
On the homepage, is it? This,
yeah, under the projects page, you know, you go, you scroll down, you see more projects, and then it shows only X amount of more projects. So if the project you're looking for without having the search feature is like at the bottom, basically.
Yeah.
And so the other thing with that is that since we've implemented the quality score, all of those projects that we personally onboarded haven't had their quality score updated. Mm-hmm. So even the legitimate ones that were maybe somebody we knew or friends are still sitting at the bottom. So I don't know if there was any intention to manually update some of those.
Mm-hmm. So we have options. If we edit the project and save it, if the project owner does that, it will update the score. Otherwise, we can manually calculate it of what it should be. And I can go in and update it manually for each project in the database. Or I also considered writing a small script to like basically just loop through every project, calculate the score and update it in the database. And it just hasn't been prioritized, but we should do that soon, right? Mm-hmm. So leave it with me. I'll create an issue and we can figure out the best one. Like it might just be helpful if a couple of us take it on to like calculate what it should be or something like this, or maybe I can do it myself, depending on how many projects there are or whatever. But yeah, let's create it. I'll create an issue for this.
Cool. Yeah, that's all I noticed.
Cool.
I'm excited to see the search and filter functionality that you guys added. We're getting so many projects that it's going to be a very useful feature. So super excited to see that.
Totally.
I got an update. What did you say, James?
I was just going to say, in case you missed that, it is on dev, so we can have a play with it right now.
Sweet. I'm going to check that out.
I mean, it's half done.
Cool progress. That'd be fun to check out some of the metrics this past week. I was just playing around with Amplitude, which is the analytics tool that plugs into Segment. It's one of the analytics tools. So Segment's capturing all this data and sending it to Amplitude. And Amplitude, we can visualize it. So I just threw together a few charts in just a couple minutes that of some of the KPIs that we're tracking with Segment. So you can see donations. So this is just unique donations each day, separated by if a user is anonymous. These are the anonymous donations. These are donations of users who have connected an account. So you can see on March 25th, we did about 80 donations. And this is projects created, and this is just daily active users. So any unique visitor that visits the Giveth website. So this is just the beginning, and we can go in here. It's really easy to create a new chart. You just, all the different events that we're tracking in Segment are all available here, including every page view too. And then you can really easily select like an event you want to track, group it by any of the properties that we have available. And then also do some other stuff. You can create different types of charts and do use multiple events in a single chart. You can do some cool stuff. Just wanted to give a quick overview of some of the metrics.
Nice. So it looks like the majority of people donated anonymously, is it?
Totally, which is what I would expect, right? Because you don't need to sign in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been really stoked to see all the donations coming through just in the first week. I think it's testament to the awesome UX and the fact that put a lot of work into the MVP before launching and making and going live, making sure that it was a really good, solid experience.
Sweet. Nice. Cool.
Awesome.
Any other business then we want to talk about?
Oh, well, if not,
Go ahead, Griff.
go.
I was just
Okay.
going to mention a couple issues.
Yeah, just the big issue is checking for connects on mainnet or XDAI and making sure that if the DApp is aware of a contract address, and then it can stop donations to on other chains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we discussed that before you joined, Griff, I think at the beginning. And no, it's cool because actually it's good to talk to you about it also. Yeah, so essentially what happened was I seeded the database that address. And at the time that I did that, we were not using XDAI. And then at some point, yeah, I mean, we switched to XDAI and like it just was overlooked basically. And yeah, I take responsibility for that. I think it's a bit of a one-off, and the outcome for me on that is I'm going to create an issue to like figure out like how we can avoid this happening in the future, and essentially like what we need to do now, like fully go into what we need to do to make sure that cannot happen again, basically. But yeah, it sucks. I mean, the only good news is honey is half the price of last week, but it's not cool at all.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the like, oh, we lost this donation as much as I am just making sure. I don't know if any other projects are using a DAO on mainnet or a DAO on XDAI and could receive funds and then you lose it. That's way worse. Us losing funds, we're the best project to get have this happen to, you know. So I would say we're lucky. But I swear we had an issue where we talked about this, and there was like, even I grabbed a snippet of it, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know.
Yeah, we definitely spoke about this. I mean, I don't know if there was an issue about it or whatever, but yeah, yeah. So there's some ticket that documents like what we need to do, is it?
I swear there was. I could not. I searched our entire like repo and I couldn't find it. So I don't know. It must have been some weird side comment or something. But either way, I guess I can make a new issue if there's not an issue already, and just document how I would like to see it applied.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And then we can run from there.
Yep. Cool. Like, I know we definitely had a conversation about this. I don't know if that's what you're remembering on Telegram or something. Like we just spoke about it or whatever. But it could be that. Like, because we were talking about like deploying Gnosis safes and all this kind of stuff, and you were saying that you're less of a fan of wallets now compared to like things like Taurus or things like MetaMask because of the multi-chain thing, basically. So maybe that's what you're thinking of. But
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay, great.
So do you want to take ownership of this issue for now then and document that?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay. Great. Cool.
And what are you thinking, Griff? At the beginning of the call, we talked about like detecting if there's a contract on chain with that address and then showing a warning. But now I'm thinking that a warning might not be good enough, and that we'd actually have to it not in the front end. If a user, should we like let them use a contract and disable donations on other chains, or just say no? That's what you want to do. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if someone has a DAO and they don't, then like that's fine. They only want to raise on XDAI or they only want to raise on mainnet.
And so they have to choose. Because then we also then in the front end have to just on the donation side just handle that and make sure that like we just added. I just saw this new donation page that we just that encourages people to donate on XDAI if they're have mainnet selected. I'm just thinking about the edge cases here, and then we also have to handle that basically and understand like which chain the DApp is accepting donations on, and it could be a little confusing for a user who's they have XDAI and they want to donate to a project on XDAI, and here's one project that they can't donate to.
I guess it's worth a discussion. Do we want to just impose? Like you can't, the options are we can impose, oh, this is a contract. Sorry, you can't accept donations to a contract with our app. That's super simple. We don't have to change anything. And it's just something in the on-ramp. But then there's the option of, oh, hey, this is a contract on XDAI or this is a contract on Ethereum. You will only be able to raise this on that chain. And then we have to add all these like little edge case questions everywhere. Yeah.
I think first of all, I would say it's obvious, but I think that this is quite urgent to figure out. And I think the easiest, lowest hanging fruit way of doing this would be that default, you can't accept donations on XDAI and you need to request that and we manually activate that like in the shortest term, right? Because in reality, it could happen today that money disappears, right? I think that's the easiest non-technical work-wise solution to set this up right now. And then, I don't know, that's the only thing I wanted to raise, basically.
Well, and a lot of people have DAOs on XDAI, so it would have to go both ways. Like, yeah. Okay.
Fair enough. I mean, if we can detect it's a contract wallet or not, I think that's a good start, right? And then they need to be manually approved or something. I don't know.
We have to scan both chains, but it shouldn't be hard.
Cool.
I like that as a quick solution, just to solve this quickly, just like you're saying, James, and then we can follow up with the preferred solution, especially if we see a lot of DAOs or a lot of projects requesting this feature. Then it'll be a really good motivation for us to support contracts, but also handle all the edge cases.
Yeah, and we need to make sure that no one else is doing that, is already has a contract.
Yeah, I mean that's like we could probably do that manually. Like maybe I do that like after this call, essentially. But like when someone's adding a project, like so it would look like this, that like they put the address that they want in, and then they hit next, and then we check to see if that's a contract, and then we give them a huge warning saying like warning, be aware that like if this blah blah blah, then this could happen, etc. Or like
no, we'd have to tell them you can't use it.
You can't do this.
You can't use it. We're not set up for you to use contract wallets. And then if people, I like what Willie said, if people request that feature, then they request that feature. I mean, this is a problem for so many applications. And, smart contract wallets are not cool in a multi-chain world. So like, it's just the reality.
Yeah, I hear you. Just another idea I had there is that we say no like that, and then we could say something that like if you want to request this manually, then they could do that, because we could essentially just copy and paste the database, right? Like if it's really like Or is that not a headache we want, basically?
Well, then we would need to prevent people from donating. Let's say it's an XDAI DAO. We need to prevent people one ether to it. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The other option would be, oh, give us an XDAI address and a mainnet address.
Mm.
You know, that would be a third option.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. So no, just to be clear, no XDAI smart contract addresses. Is that the summary of it?
No XDAI or Ethereum. We just block.
Okay.
For it sounds like just as this evolved, short-term solution, block all contract addresses. That means we have to create a system that can scan both the XDAI chain and the mainnet chain and make sure that they're externally owned accounts and then not smart contracts. And then if we have that check in place on both chains, then we can avoid this from ever happening. And then we figure out what to do.
Okay.
My hope is that we do have a lot of DAOs come to us and request this functionality, because all the DAOs want to raise funds on Giveth. But I do recognize that we don't want to wait until that whole solution is done to get this quick fix out. So I'm really glad we're taking this approach.
Cool. So you're going to document this in an issue,
Yeah.
Griff?
I already have it open.
Okay, and I will go to the database.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yes, I have it open and I'm working on it.
Cool.
I was thinking long term. You guys want to hear a cool just vision for just down? You know, we still have all these great features we're working on that I'm really excited about, but thinking about how cool Giveth will be in the not too distant future. And James, I know this is something that you're passionate about, and just wanted to share it. But we talk about impact measurement, right? And being able to like actually see the impact that these projects are having, and then trace that all the way back to the donor. And I get really excited about how we can get there. And maybe the MVP of that is just like enabling projects to basically like upload their impact, post their impact, and be like, oh, you know, we planted 1,000 trees, you know. Maybe there's some honor system stuff. Like ideally that stuff is trustless and verified, like they're posting a picture and GPS timestamp and everything. But it's like, even if you could just imagine a project being able to like just upload their impact, and then how much of the donations it costs to make that impact, you could really quickly trace that all the way back to the donor and be like, oh, so, you know, they spent $1 million planting 1 million trees, right? And you donated $1,000. Oh, well, now on your profile, you can see like, oh, I planted 1,000 trees, or I enabled my impact, you know, was 1,000 trees got planted, basically. We could do cool NFTs too.
You could put that as like badges.
Badges, yeah, totally. You know, everyone who like offsets like 1,000 pounds of carbon dioxide or something like that, like you get a badge.
Tree Lord.
And that just got so exciting thinking about that and how cool that will be, and how it's not too far, it might not be too far down the road.
We could do that for Giveth too, and be like, hey, you know, your donations made this amount of donations possible, right? Your donations to Giveth have facilitated donations of this amount to all of these projects, and it'd be like $1. It'd be like $1 per dollar, you know, metric. Be interesting.
Totally.
Could show them actually how much. Go ahead, James.
I'm just saying, I'm just visualizing like a diagram and like.
Yeah. You could show them like what percentage they have of like the total funding of the project, like if they 50% funded it, or like 85, or like what there is.
Yeah. That's cool.
Simple.
Alrighty. Anything else? I'm super excited about Superfluid. Have you guys been seeing this thing? These super tokens with streaming and this kind of business? Someone should like implement that and give us for a hackathon project or something, as Kai suggested.
How are you seeing Superfluid fitting into Giveth?
Well, I think it's like very interesting, in particular, if you think about like onboarding fiat or something. Like it seems to connect well together for people to conceptually think about putting like $500 in or something, and like having that stream to a project over time. Whether it's fiat on ramped or not doesn't really matter, right? But like just this idea of like setting aside a certain amount of money and then it streams. And I don't know enough about Superfluid exactly, but like I think it makes a kind of like universal basic income or some kind of like sponsorship, like, or like just different, slightly conceptually different narratives and actual value flows, right? Like that can be constructed around it or something like this. I don't know, like, I mean, I haven't thought too much about it, but I just think that it's super exciting, like this concept of like streaming sponsorship or something. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the Patreon model is very successful. These like right now we're one-off donations, you know, and that is not the classical pattern for donations. It's this like, oh yeah, we'll charge you $100 a month for the rest of your life, kind of a pattern, you know, and hopefully you just forget about it or you love it and it happens automatically. In the end, that is proven to be very successful, and so Superfluid is like, you know, the next way to do that in crypto, where you can set up a stream.
Super cool. It's just continuous. Yeah, I guess like in the future, people like payments won't be every 2 weeks, right? You're like people getting paid. It won't be every month or every 2 weeks. It'll just be a constant stream. And then donating to, you can say like, oh, well, I want to donate, 5% of my paycheck, and these are the projects I want to donate to, and money is streaming into your wallet and then streaming right up to all these different projects in real time. And
yeah, totally.
That's the future we're headed towards.
It fully incentivizes like reporting and like performance and like all of this kind of like transparency and everything, right? Like it can be like, well, I'm putting aside this amount of money for your project as long as you produce X, Y, and Z in the next 3 months or next 1 month or something. You know what I mean? Like the concept of milestones or some kind of conditional continuance of this support or not or whatever, right? So I think it's like the constant flow that it allows, like it's a constant flow of value, right? Like in terms of like money to the project, and so it can incentivize a constant flow of output or performance or like results basically. So I think it's like that's super interesting.
It's cool to plug it into causes too. Like I would really, as a user, I would just want to have stream money to causes. Like here are the causes that I really want to support. And what's cool about that is that you could have then whoever is the top project basically, or the top projects or whatever, however much support each of these projects are getting, they can get a share of the funds streaming to causes. But it's pretty cool too, because you can just see, it's like, oh, here's all these people who are streaming payments to causes. Here's the funds we expect to come into causes. That's a really compelling honeypot for all the projects within that cause to come compete for that.
Absolutely.
Exciting stuff. Well, I think we built a really solid foundation, and it's really cool to see that just in the first week of getting it out there, it does seem like it's working to some degree. Projects are getting created steadily, and people are coming and donating to these projects, and that says a lot. It's we've been building for a while, but for 1 year, it's really hard to build a project, especially a two-sided project where you're bringing together two different parties, and to actually build something that people use is much easier said than done. So I just want to give props to everybody for building something useful, something really useful and needed. And we already heard from like some projects like Manu coming and saying, this is amazing. Like what you guys built, this is what we needed. And yeah, I thought it was so cool. Like many of us donated to that project, and like how freaking cool is that to be able to donate directly to a project in Argentina that just got hit by a wildfire and like needed support, and how else are they going to get the support, and we were able to just support them directly. That's fucking badass. So props to all of you guys.
Great. Did I freeze or did everyone else freeze? Cool.
No, I think we're just having a moment of silence.
Yeah,
like,
you froze for a bit, but now you're back. You're good.
I was staring out the window.
You look very pensive.
All right, so I found out the only the only person or org using a contract is Handshake Development Fund. And I add you the thing, James, the address.
Have they lost any donations yet? Have they gotten donations on both chains?
I didn't look at that. I just looked at the Etherscan, find out if there are addresses or not, or contracts. And this is a contract.
Did you go through the database, or how did you do this?
Yeah, manually through the database, just copy paste in Etherscan.
And also, did you check on XDAI?
No. This is a full list of all projects' addresses.
It's just they might be addresses on XDAI too. They might be smart contracts on XDAI.
I didn't see any donations for this one. Yay. Cool. Should we finish early then, or you guys happy to hang out?
Team party.
I wanted to ask for one project. We need Handshake. We'll need them to update their donation address, right? With the decision that we made today. Do we have the email address for them? Anyone know this project?
One of the Handshake devs went to Burning Man with me. I can reach out personally.
Awesome.
It's a Gnosis safe, so it's okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Does it exist on XDAI as well? Has it been there for a while? Because actually,
no contract call 3 hours ago. 0.1 XDAI, maybe a donation.
Cool. Wait.
In a database, or I don't know.
So, because a lot of Gnosis safes are deployed on both chains. Like, I think if you deployed your Gnosis safe before December, then you were a hero. The guy who does CLR fund, Aaron, also works for Gnosis, and he deployed a Gnosis safe for every mainnet Gnosis safe.
Wow.
So this is actually, it might be okay.
It's from November 19th.
Oh yeah, they were golden.
Awesome. Super cool. Problem solved.
Also, it said contract call success. I guess that's what happened. So if you get the XDAI.
Sweet. Well, I'll see you guys in 8 minutes.
Alrighty. See you in a bit.
Hey James. Bye guys. Actually, that's an interesting use case too. Like, it's like if it is a contract on one of the chains but not both, then they can't use it. But if it is a contract on both chains, then actually they could use it. So It's like, yeah.
Then we just have to remember to add more chains as we integrate with more chains.
Oh god.
Totally. Yeah, let's write it all down and look into it and see what we can do, basically. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the database now anyway. I'll see you guys soon. Yeah.